Hi everyone, I'm Deborah. I'm in liquid, sunshiny Florida. Depending upon the day or the hour determines whether we have liquid sunshine or just regular sunshine. I hope all of y'all are well. I've named my podcast Yarn, Needles, and Life. I have now added hooks to it because I am now doing a lot of crocheting as well as knitting. So I hope this video finds you all well. I did a um, car chat last week, and I thought I would show you some of the things that I spoke of in that video. I apologize that it was sideways. I was using my cell phone, and instead of having my cell phone in the upright position like this, I turned it like this so that the video would be wider instead of so narrow, and I did not know that because I don't have videoing editing software. I couldn't rotate it around, and that it actually turned out sideways, the entire thing. So for those of you who watched it and put up with it, thank you very much. You're very kind. I really do apologize. And for the most part, I don't edit my videos. I just do them, and you get all my boo-boos and blunders and stumbling around, and that's okay. I'm not here to be a professional. This is a hobby for me, and I enjoy coming to you from time to time and talking and sharing things with you. And, I don't ever expect to be in Hollywood or making money from my videos. This is just a hobby for me, and I want to keep it fun and keep it simple. So I'm not going to spend hours editing content and adding in stuff. I don't know how to insert links in the description box. I will give you the names when I can remember them of where I get things from, but I'm not doing links. And if you need that, I'm sorry. First of all, I don't know how to do it. And second of all, I really don't want to learn how to do it because I don't want this to become work. I want this to be enjoyable. So on that, I hope this video finds you all well. Please feel free to subscribe, leave comments in the box. If they're derogatory, please just feel free to keep them to yourself. We want just everybody to be happy, and I realized after raising 3 children that if I could keep 2 to 3 happy on any one given day, I had really accomplished a lot. So, I know that I can't make everybody happy. That's just the nature of the beast, as my grandmother would say. So the other day I spoke of my thing of doing some mosaic crocheting, and then I had started off and I watched Tina do some on her video podcast, and I'm not sure the name of it. I apologize. She comes, and I said she is from Cuba. She is not. She is from Iceland, and she travels between Cuba and Iceland because her husband is from Cuba, and apparently they have a couple of children, and they travel back into between the two areas throughout the year. So you will see in her video podcast that she has got scenery of Iceland and of Cuba, and they're both very interesting places. I've really enjoyed watching the one that I saw of her after I had mistakenly given y'all the information that she was from Cuba. She's an excellent teacher, and she's the one who I stumbled on first and got me going on mosaic crochet. And then the other person that I picked up is Stephanie with Fiber Fox Studios, and she does a lot of podcasts every week. She does a car chat, and she does a tutorial on how to do stitches, and I have followed her quite a lot. I have bought patterns from both of these mosaic crocheters. Tina is has a rivalry store, and I can't pronounce her last name, so I apologize, and I'm not sure that she has, I don't remember the name of her podcast, her videos. I'm not sure that I don't know. I apologize. I don't know that she has a name for them, which seems odd. So, I'll look and see if I can correct that. The other thing is with Viperfox Studios, Stephanie has an Etsy shop, and she sells her mosaic graphs on her Etsy shop. They are not written instructions, they are just the graphs. Now, Tina, and it's Tinna, is the spelling of her name, and her last name starts with a T, and it's very long. She has a Ravelry store, and in her videos, she has a link to her Ravelry store, and her mosaic patterns come with the graph and the written pattern for that graph, and they are very well done, very easy to follow. Both ladies do an excellent job, and both of them are reasonably priced. Viperfox Studios, she does, her graphs are typically $2 a piece. Some of them come with 3 different versions of the graph in multiples of certain numbers of the chains, and you'll see that if you ever get into it, you'll be able to follow what I'm saying about that. So I had said in my last video that I started out watching the videos, and I would listen to the video, and then I would turn it back to the beginning, and I'd get my notepad and paper out and my pen, and I would just start writing down the directions. And the thing about mosaic video patterns is you're repeating the same stitches over and over again on a row. So you may have 10 stitches in that pattern, and they're going to be the same 10 all the way across your entire piece. For example, this design is consistent from the beginning to the end of the row. So it's just the same 10 or 12 stitches over and over and over again. And after crocheting for I don't know, an hour or two, it clicks in your head. I don't have to look at the pattern anymore, the graph anymore. I've got it. I can look at what I'm doing, on my piece, and I've got this. It's not hard. So it's like, okay, I do 10 single crochets and 1 drop down double crochet, and then 1 single crochet and drop down double crochet. Anyhow, it just repeats and it gets a flow, and it's very easy to do. So I had talked about that when I wrote down the patterns in written form with Viperfox Studios and with Tina, that I did each row by row, and I did it in very simplified form. It's very easy to write a pattern down and make it really super simple because of the repeats. But anyhow, then I sat down and I knitted, listen to me, I crocheted swatches. I'm a prolific knitter, so I'm having a hard time with the two. Remembering that I'm hooking and not needling. So anyhow, here's some of them. And is what I did was, this is my sample piece. I wrote the name of the person's tutorial that I got it from, what the pattern number is, and then I stapled it to my piece. And that's what I did with the majority of them. Here's another one. This one is done crocheted specifically out of mainstay yarn from Walmart. $1.96.97 a skein. Plenty of yardage. Works up well. I'm happy with it. Sometimes the yarn does have problem areas in it, but no, it's nothing to cause me to get in an uproar. So if I can't fix that spot, because sometimes it's actually not spun tightly, it's blown out, and obviously it happened when it was from the big spool going down the machinery to all the other ones where it was going to make, small skeins to go on to the shelves of the stores. So that was a quality assurance thing, and it is what it is, and you deal with it. But Mainstay yarn from Walmart has been very nice yarn, and I've actually even bought some of their cotton yarn that they've just recently put out, and I absolutely love it. It's very, very soft. It's nicely spun. It's not super tight, but it's not super loose, so I don't have a I haven't had a problem when I've crocheted with it of the yarn splitting when I'm working with it. But I do highly recommend the Mainstay yarns of the cotton and the acrylics. They both knit and crochet up nicely, so I'm very happy with them. And for those of us that may be on limited finances, but we, have a passion for doing things, or if we're spending our money to make hats for the homeless, or blankets or scarves or whatever, this is a very economical way that we can do that and give it away, and not put our own selves in financial jeopardy by doing so, because many of us do like to do things for those that are in need, but we can't. We have to be careful also of our expenditures, because it's not like we're rolling in money. So you get the point. I don't have to explain it. Here is, I have taken to, if you can see this, this is one of the tabs that close up kind of like a safety pin. And they come in various lengths and sizes, and they're used actually for holding your stitches, your live stitches, when you're doing like sleeves on a jacket or a top. So that's what these are used for, and they're used predominantly in knitting. I have several of them in various sizes, and I have decided to utilize them at holding my swatches that I've made, so that they're not, flying around all over the place. So I simply pull them off. Here's another swatch that I did in the Mainstay yarns from Walmart. I really like this, and I've used it on a blanket that I'm working on, and I've got in the back of my head an idea for, I want to crochet me a cardigan, or not a cardigan, a jacket. And I want it to be really bright and colorful and poppy to where it just catches your eye. And I have decided so far that I'm pretty much 100% sure I'm going to use this for the bottom part, this particular graph for the bottom part of the jacket. I really like the looks of it. It's very neat and clean, and when it's in a dark color background with a bright color foreground, it really pops and catches your eye. And that's one thing that I like about the mosaic, is that you can make it very abstract with just like a white and a black, or a gray and a black color, just two colors, or you can put in any colors that you want and however you choose to lay them out, and it is yours. This design might be used by everybody, but the color combination that you use is unique to you, so it makes it yours. So that's what I've done, and that's what I was talking about when I said I crochet swatches. And that's what I did to first start learning this. I didn't want to chain 100 chains and then start crocheting on a piece, not knowing how well it was going to work out and how many times I was going to have to rip it out before I got my stitches right and was able to follow it right. So doing just a little one is great. And the other thing is that later on down the road, I can take these and I can stitch them together, and I can make a lapgan or afghan or whatever I want to out of them. And they don't have to clutter things up. And that is something that I've always thought about with swatching as a knitter. I hate swatching, and they always tell you to cast on so many stitches and then knit for so many rows and blah blah blah. And I'm like, what do you do with that? And I thought, well, at first you can label each one, the name of the yarn that you use, the color that you use, the needle size or hook size that you use, and the weight of the yarn, okay, and maybe even the pattern well, not so much. You might want to put your stitches per inch on there. I don't usually track my rows per inch because rows are easy to increase or decrease. I worry more about my width of my stitches and not the height that I get, because I can decrease the height as I go along my rows. But I need that part correct because that's going to determine the most important part of a garment, which is how it's going to fit me around my body. So that's the width part is the most important part to me. Everybody may not feel that way, and that's fine. We all do what works for us. So that's just my little input on it. What was the next thing? Oh, I wanted to show you some of my projects. I've been busy with the mosaic crochet. I've been doing it for a couple months now, and I have really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to show you a couple blankets. This is my second blanket that I made. My first one, I actually gave it to my daughter-in-law. She saw it and she really liked it, and it was the colors that she liked. So I gave it to her, and she was just thrilled. This one, I've actually put an edging on it, and I learned how to put the edge on it from Tina's video. And it's a border, but it's a double border. It's double thickness. So, I crocheted up on this side, then I came back and crocheted up on this side, and then I joined it together at the top. All of my ends, and you do have ends with mosaic crochet, I cut them short, and then they're all tucked away neatly inside this border. So this is my first blanket, and it's probably the size of what you would use if you were laying on the couch watching TV. I'm going to show sections of it. There's no way I can show all of it. It's not going to fit in here. But, and this was all made with mainstay yarn, with the exception of one part. One part of it, the earlier part that I'm going to show you at the end, was mainstay yarn and red heart ombres. So I've really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. We need to figure out some way to show our works. This is the red heart ombre, this lavender part, and it's variegated as it goes along. It fades, so you get a nice color change. And then there's that one that I liked so well at the beginning. I really enjoyed doing this. How long did it take me to do? Maybe I spent a week on it. I think it's probably 160 stitches or 160 chains, I think is what I started with, and I used a G-hook. I have since gone down in my hook size with some of the other yarns that I use, but this mainstay is a 4-weight yarn, and it is a substantial 4-weight yarn, and a G hook worked very well on it. The back of mosaic crochet pieces looks like this versus your front design. Your back looks like this. For those that bothers, you can simply cover it with a fabric of your choice, or fleece that you get for children to make their little receiving blankets out of, or little gowns out of. So you can pick up nursery prints if you want to put it on the back if you do a baby blanket, a mosaic baby blanket, and that's really soft up against their skin as well, and it adds an additional warmth factor to it, as well as the softness. So that was my second blanket. This is the one that I am currently working on. This is the bottom of the blanket right now, and I'm going to actually put this on the top edge of the blanket as well. I'm using mandala cakes, and it is an acrylic. It's 100% acrylic, and this particular colorway is Spirit. And then I added another one that I had a partial cake of, and it had pinks and purples and blues in it. So that's in there as well. And of course, there's a very soft blue, and there's very dark grays and very light grays. So I really liked this right here, this particular design. And I only put it in here once so far. All of my other ones that I did 3 repeats of them because they're more narrow, but this one was like 30 rows. So I only did one of it. And then I'm starting on a new graph right here. So this is my current project, and as I said, there's ends, and I chose to leave these ends this long. I'm trying to decide whether I want to put a border on it, if I want to do a twisted fringe edge. We'll see. But anyhow, I've been working on this now for several weeks, and I've taken it with me sometimes when I've gone to appointments, and it's getting kind of too big to be portable. The yarn weight says that it's a 3 weight, but I don't consider this mandala a 3. To me, it's more of a 2, and that's fine because it gives it a nice weight. It's not super heavy, but you know, like I said, it is getting to the point now to where it's getting bulky to be portable. Now, one of my earlier projects that I did, actually I did this last winter. I decided to do some crocheting, which I don't typically do, and typically I knit, but I did this Afghan, and I don't know what size it is. It's perfect and comfortable to snuggle up with, and it's, you know, yellow and red and pink and blue and green and hot pink. And these are all Walmart brand mainstay yarns, so I don't have a lot of money tied up in this. My border that I did, I just did a border of, I don't know if this is single or half double crochets. Anyhow, I can't see without my glasses on. But anyhow, I did that as a border around so that the border matched my colors of my squares. Now, you know, I know that the magic, I think it's called Magic Loop, starting thing is the big rage with crocheters these days, instead of doing a chain 3 and then slip stitch into your first chain. I know it's the rage, and that's what I did. I thought, everybody's screaming about how wonderful it is, I'm going to do this. Well, it wasn't hard, and I left a nice tail so that I could weave in really well to secure everything, because my biggest fear is spending a lot of time and money on a project, and then once it's washed, it starts falling apart. That is every, you know, fiber artist nightmare. We want our things that we have spent so much time, and not just money on, but our time and love on, to hold up to use and washing. Well, I started sewing my squares together, and suddenly I realized my circles were coming apart in the center. Over half of my squares came apart. I wanted to cry. I was just sick. I sat and I frogged every one of those stinking squares, and I recrocheted the entire blanket. It was not fun. I was not a happy camper. I did everything right, and it went wrong, and I will never do that again. So this is my experience that I am sharing with you all. You all do whatever you want in whatever way you want to. And for some people, may never have a problem with it. But I'll tell you what, I was sick, physically sick, that I had spent hours and hours and days and weeks on crocheting up all these squares, and they're coming apart before I'm even starting to sew the squares together. So that's my experience. Take it, and file it in what file you want to in your memory banks. File 5 or file 13. It's up to you. But that's what happened to me, and it was a very big learning experience for me, and not in a happy way. So that's my thoughts on it. And I'll move on. So anyhow, this is version 2 of this video. I actually did an entire video of what I'm doing right now, and of course I don't use notes, and I don't edit, and I wing it, and I do always play back a few minutes of it, or maybe the whole thing, just to see if it's should be uploaded or should be trashed. And I hit play, and my mouth was moving, but there was no sound. Somehow or another, I lost my microphone, my audio. I could listen to music on my device, but it wasn't recording what I was saying. And as I said in the previous video, and I'll say it again now, I've typically record on my cell phone. I have not had a laptop computer in over 6 years. So the kind of computer that I had back then, it's a dinosaur. It's obsolete now. They don't make them anymore. And everything that they make now is so vastly different from what I had. And that this is being a really huge learning curve for me. And I have a whole lot to learn, and I don't know that I will ever learn it all. But I have hung on to my stimulus check pretty much. I used it for some really necessary things like tires for my car, and I have hung on to it dearly. And I thought, well, I'll get me a nice tablet, and I looked at some tablets, and this laptop caught my eye, and there wasn't much difference in price between it and the tablet that I was looking at, and this was on sale for several $100s off. So I chose to buy this, and it's the brand Levino, something like that. I've seen the brand around. I've never had anything that they make before. My sister did say that she had her first laptop computer was this brand, and she was very happy with it years ago. But I think they call it an Idea Pad, and I'm like, okay, it runs on Windows 10, but everything is, to me, everything is very much like a tablet when you look at the screen, or like your cell phone screen, but at the same time it's not, which I know doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I have a lot to learn. Okay, let's just say that, and I don't know how much I'm going to learn. But anyhow, since I have this now, I may actually do videos more frequently, because this is just a little bit easier to set up and sit in front of than trying to, stack boxes up to get this high enough to be able to record me. And it's interesting because I've had, boxes stacked yay high just to get this up, other than holding it in front of me. And of course, then you only have one hand and you can't show the things that you want to show. So anyhow, a laptop is much nicer to be able to do a video with. So that being said, I hope that everybody is having a wonderful day. We're getting very close to the end of July, and August is well on its way. And before we know it, Thanksgiving will be here. So won't that be fun? And we'll get to have plenty of turkey and some pies, and the kitchens will be smelling really good, and hopefully we will be able to spend time with our family and our friends. And I hope everybody is well, and please use proper hygiene tactics, washing our hands and sneezing and coughing in a tissue paper, and not just blowing our stuff all over the place. And you know, uh, remember, we're all in this together, and please be kind. And just because somebody does one thing and somebody does something else, remember that we're each different, and we each have really different circumstances in our life that sometimes contributes to why um, some individuals may not wear a face mask, and it may have to do with the fact that they have problems with their breathing to begin with, and putting a mask over their face just creates a very serious issue for them with lack of oxygen. And speaking of masks, I crocheted one up, and it turned out so lovely. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, well, that stinks. I don't see it. I did it out of the Mainstay cotton yarn, and it turned out lovely, and I used a much smaller hook than recommended on the thing, so that the density was much tighter on the mask. Oh, here it is. So here's the mask, and the pattern is a free pattern, and I found it on Yarnspiration's webpage, and it's nice. I think I used a size D crochet hook on it, and it's nice and soft. So and I wash my mask when I go out, and I do have breathing problems, so it's very difficult for me to have a mask on of any kind. I really have problems with shortness of breath and just going out in the heat. I don't do it unless it's just an absolute necessity, because when I walk out in the heat and humidity, it's like the my oxygen is just sucked right out of my lungs immediately as soon as I hit that when I walk out the door, and it's awful. It's awful. I have some Unfortunately, I have some health problems that can't be fixed, so I have to just work around them. And that's why I said, if people don't wear them, it's not always because they're just rebelling. Sometimes it's just because they really can't. They're going to be on the floor, and the ambulance is going to be picking them up because they can't breathe. They have difficulty with getting enough oxygen. But I do wash my masks after I wear them. I think that's very important. Having worked in the healthcare industry in the past, I am a licensed phlebotomist. I know about germs and the transmission of germs and viruses, and it's very important to wash this medical things that the medical staff use, whether it's their gloves, their gowns, the glasses, the special glasses that they wear, um, in masks. They're called PPEs. Personal protection equipment is the medical term of it, and they are disposable for a reason, because you don't clean them. You wear them once and you dispose of them, and medical staff always disposes those PPEs between each patient. Okay, so if we're using the same things over and over again when we go out, we need to clean them as best and as frequently as we possibly can. So in the evening, once you're home for the day, wash your mask. I mean, that's for your protection more as well as anybody else's. I don't know how contagious we are towards other people if we got whatever on our mask, but remember, we are breathing through that. So we're breathing in whatever our mask has caught on the outer side when it's against our face. And if any of us are eyeglass wearers, and I am, as well as contacts. By the end of the day, when I look at my lenses on my eyeglasses and see how filthy those lenses are from just getting the gook in the air that you walk through, um, it's incredible. You know, even those who wear sunglasses, your lenses get really dirty, and it's like, really, how does that happen? Well, it's crap in the air. Air's dirty. You know, virus or no virus, the air is dirty, and that gets in our eyes, and what gets in our eyes actually goes up our nose, and we breathe it, and it goes into our lungs. COVID or no COVID. So just, you know, something to think about. But yeah, I do highly recommend washing your masks on a daily basis. For those who wear paper ones and wear, you know, disposable gloves, please don't throw them on the ground in the parking lots. If you're trying to, you know, be compliant with what's asked of us, um, garbage belongs in the garbage can. It doesn't belong on the ground. Masks, gloves, cold drink bottles, cans, whatever. Garbage belongs in the trash can receptacles. Personally, I feel like if, you know, our contagious material or material that has been exposed to things that can have contagious things like blood, saliva, any kind of body fluids, which is why medical staff wears and utilizes PPE. It's not to protect the patient so much, it's to protect themselves from the patient, whatever the patient may have. And even you'll notice that when you have your labs drawn, your blood work drawn, they dispose of that needle and syringe in a special receptacle, and it's typically red because it's considered biohazardous. And I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to be controversial, but when you've got something that is so highly contagious as the COVID-19 is, we are being told it is, then there should be biohazard containers in every public accessible building for us to dispose of our disposable PPEs, personal protection equipment, masks, gloves, whatever, into those receptacles, and they should be disposed of by us properly in those containers, and there should be a hazmat company that comes around and picks up those biohazardous containers. That's exactly what happens in the hospital settings, and that is the industry standard of how to handle things. So I'm just repeating what I know from my medical knowledge and my certifications, okay? You don't throw possible contaminated things in your typical garbage. It has to be disposed of properly. Otherwise, you are just contaminating everything of wherever it goes. You know, so anyhow, enough of that. I'm going to get off my soapbox. So, anyhow, I hope all of y'all have a wonderful day. I hope this video gets to y'all okay. I hope you saw a little bit about the mosaic crochet. And I have made me up a little notebook. I put my, and it's just, you know, just a little inexpensive thing. And, oh, yay. I've put my written directions in plastic sleeves, and then my graphs that I bought, I have put in plastic. I've printed them out and put them in plastic sleeves as well. And this is one of the graphs that I got from Fiber Fox Studios. This is one of hers. So this is how they come, and they're very simple and easy to understand. And I hope that some of you will actually be interested enough to, you know, to experiment with this and see how you like it. It's Very different from our traditional crocheting and knitting, and you can knit mosaic as well. They call it a little bit different name, but it's the same concept, or the same end result. But and I intend to learn how to do it in knitting as well and see which one that I like the best. But so far I'm enjoying this crocheting experience. Oh, another little thing that I thought of, you know, we have such a hard time trying to keep up with all of our stuff, and I am a, like many of us, you know, the Dollar Tree. It's a wonderful store, and we go in there to get just one thing and come out a whole lot of things later. But anyhow, I bought an eyeglass case. You know, they're a buck. Everything in there is $1. And I thought, well, this is good to carry my eyeglasses in my purse to keep my lenses from getting scratched. And I have several of them. But I thought, I discovered what a great way to put where to put my crochet hooks, and that I'm taking with me when I'm taking a project with me when I'm going out to a doctor's appointment or whatever. I try to always have some little small project with me when I go someplace, because if I have to sit and wait on anything, I at least can keep my hands busy and feel like I'm being productive even when I can't do anything else but sit and wait. Um, so I thought that was, you know, pretty good idea. They can sit in there and you can put several of them in there. You could do your knitting needles as well. It's a great way to hold it. This crochet hook actually happens to be a Hobby Lobby hook, from their Yarnology collection. They have two different types. I bought this. I bought two of these the other day. I actually like them. They aren't expensive. They're less than $5. And I think I used their 40% off coupon, so I got it 40% off of $4 or whatever. And I like it. I really do. I like the way it feels in my hand. It's comfortable. It works for me. I am not a pencil style holder. I do more of this way when I crochet. Actually, that's how I do it. And it's weird because I am actually a left-handed person. My mother is right-handed, and my mother taught me how to crochet and how to knit. So I actually learned how to crochet and knit right-handed. I never learned left-handed, and I am left-handed. I eat left-handed. I write left-handed. But what's weird is I use my right hand for almost everything else. I bowl right-handed. Bat left. I bat right-handed. I throw a ball right-handed, and I catch with my glove in the left hand. You give me a pair of left-handed scissors and I can't cut diddly squat, okay? It's like, yeah, no, it ain't happening. So I use my right hand for basically everything. I'm a left-handed, right-handed person. So I hold my crochet hook this way. I do not hold it this way. This is like weird. And I actually tried the other day to crochet with my left hand. It is not happening. No, 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 no. I couldn't do it if my life depended on it. You hear me? So that was one of my little diddlies that I did. The other thing is I have the magnetic board that I do put my patterns on, and I found this in the crafting department, and it's not very big. You know, it's, I don't know, just like that. I think they were 6 to a package for $1 at the Dollar Tree, and they're nice. They're very substantial. They don't, you know, they don't feel like junk, and they're great for holding two pieces of knitted or crocheted pieces together if you have to stitch them together. I also use these for holding my projects, my graphs. And this magnetic board comes with magnets so that I can move them from row to row if I want to. So that's just some of the things that I use. I also picked up some bobby pins at Dollar Tree. And I thought, I'm constantly losing my stitch markers. And of course, you use a different type of stitch marker for crochet than what you do for knitting, and knitters use stitch markers a lot. But the nice thing about bobby pins is you can use them in crochet or in knitting. And when you can get, I don't know, I think I got 100 of these for $1. If I lose them, I'm not going to get upset. And the other thing is I can actually use this in my hair if I need to, or whatever. So, they'd even be great if you were working on your fabrics, and instead of pinning with a straight pin or getting some of those expensive clips that they have now to hold two pieces of cloth together to hold your hem in place, just use a bobby pin. It just slides right on, and you can slide it right off. It's just, I know everybody, likes to have all those cute, fancy things and the newest gadgets that come out, but, really, a lot of us can't afford it to begin with. Some of us, if we can't afford it, we're not going to pay the prices that they ask for it, okay? Maybe if it's on sale, and a good sale, but there's a lot of different hacks, and a bobby pin can be used in a lot of different ways when it comes to knitting, crocheting, sewing, and crafting, as well as your hair. So just, something I thought I would share with y'all. So anyhow, everybody have a wonderful the rest of the week. Stay safe, be well. If you're feeling under the weather, please stay home and get well. Be kind to one another, and I will see you hopefully sooner than later again. It won't be such a long, lengthy time between videos, and I do apologize, but it really was a pain in the rear end to try to record from my cell phone in my room. So I appreciate you bearing with me. If you've enjoyed this at all, please subscribe and share my video link with your friends. Thank you, and bye-bye. Be safe, be well, be kind.